Indiana here with another episode of the Star Wars podcast, and today's episode is about Wat Tambor. Now, Wat Tambor was Mel Cohen and was the foreman of the Techno Union. He devoted all of the Techno Union's resources during the Clone Wars to the Confederacy of Independent Systems, which allowed him to have a seat on the Separatist Council. Now, for those of you that don't know, Wat Tambor became one of the top figures of the Confederacy, and though the Republic wasn't necessarily able to prove him being in line with the Confederacy a lot of the time, he was a known leader of the Confederacy for the Confederacy of Independent Systems because of his devotion of resources, and is often shown representing their opinions. Now, Wat Tambor ended up dying on Mustafar to Anakin Skywalker, then turned Darth Vader, after he was sent there by Palpatine to execute the leaders of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. This included figures such as Newt Gunray. They were all executed at that point, and Wat Tambor was with them. Now, before then, all of the important stuff during Wat Tambor's life is going to occur during the Clone Wars. Now, one of his main goals was to help devise new ways for separatists to take a technological advantage. One way in the Legends information he does this is by developing the CB3 battle droid, which was resistant to lightsabers because of the material it was made of, and was capable of battling Jedi. So essentially he was trying to give them the best advantage they could get. Because in any war nowadays on our real Earth, the team that has the best technological advantage, even if they have less troops, are going to have the advantage in the long run. Now, furthermore, Tambor was present on Geonosis when the Clone Wars began and was able to escape capture at that point. So this just shows how he was one of the leaders of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, even though he wasn't even an independent system, and he still had a seat on their Senate. So this just shows this power and continued involvement with Confederacy of Independent Systems. This next point does too. Tambor was present at the auction of the rebirth of the Zygerian slave trade, and was nervous when Kenobi was presented and escaped when things went wrong. Again, another big event for the Separatists that Tambor was present at. Tambor would continually be seen at events like this because he was one of their leaders. This was something Count Dooku was in charge of putting together. The Zygerian slave trade would not have gotten back together if it weren't for Dooku's involvement, because the Jedi had originally broken it apart, and it was a thing that Dooku saw as a money revenue source for the Confederacy of Independent Systems. And obviously they're in war, and the more money you got, the better you can do. So he restarted it, and several of his top leaders such as Tambor got there. Now Tambor at this point knew that Kenobi was a Jedi, and that Jedi could miraculously do stuff such as escape, which Anakin helps Obi-Wan Kenobi do. Therefore, Tambor is going to act like the separatist he is and leave. He's going to escape, just like any little scaredy cat separatist that's Newt Gunray-ish would do. And surprisingly, he doesn't escape in time on this next one because he was also being a separatist and was too selfish. Tambor, after taking the title of Emir, he was foreman before, now he becomes Emir, I'm not sure of what, decided to travel to Ryloth and invade it. One of the reasons he did this was for the money and the revenue. before he leaves Ryloth or tries to leave Ryloth, Count Dooku orders him, and either way he will have likely done this, to take all the treasures and all the valuable resources from Ryloth's surface and take them with him as he escapes. A separatist move. And because Tambor is being such a separatist, because that's who he is at heart, he doesn't leave in time. This reminds me of Tarkin thinking Death Star is indestructible, not leaving because he thinks he has time and can do it and whatnot, and ends up dying. Tambor ends up being captured by Mace Windu at Ryloth. He eventually escapes, but the point is, he was captured at Ryloth. He started the invasion, and he was the end of the invasion at Ryloth's capital. And while ruling Ryloth, he ruled it with an iron fist, not letting much going on, and many people were displaced, and Ryloth just was put in a scenario of despair. It brought out a lot of the political infighting happening at Ryloth at that point because of what Tambor did. Now, the last major canon thing Tambor does is Wat Tambor, held Echo in hiding as a way of retrieving information. This was a way of retrieving military information from a clone that was thought to be dead until he was finally saved by the Bad Batch. And Tambor, this was when you see Tambor being shown as someone who can't be brought down by the Republic because the Republic can't prove any official ties between him and the Confederacy of Independent Systems. But at the same time, it shows that he was working for them because he was holding Echo as a way of retrieving this information, which gave Admiral Trench an advantage on the planet they were fighting over. Now, a couple of other things Tambor did in the Legends content. One thing he did was he attempted to make a deal with director Oviedo after his CB3 battle droids failed, after the manufacturing plant for them was destroyed by Skywalker, to sabotage Republic supplies and munitions. This was one of his ways, again, of helping out the Confederacy of Independent Systems. And Oviedo, even though he was a little bit negative towards the Republic, ended up not really going along. And he was ordered to be killed, but was able to escape. But before he was able to tell the Senate about what Wat Tambor was doing, he unfortunately died of non-forced causes. So lucky for Tambor. Now, another thing that happened with Tambor later in the war was he helped fortify the Confederate holdings of the Exargoba system. And so he worked with General Grievous here. There was a Republic attack. I don't know how that attack ended up, but essentially he helped defend the system, and then eventually he went on to go Mustafar for a separatist meeting and was killed by Skywalker. So, Wat Tambor, one of the leaders of the separatists, in charge of the Techno Union, and what he is associated with is the Techno Union. And he was a all-down definite separatist and a part of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, even though the Republic wasn't able to prove it. If you have any topics for future episodes, please let me know in the comments. And this is Star Wars Indiana signing out. See you later.